Is this a good bike? Is it worth the money that it costs? How come BMW is selling so many of these across the world? Let's take a look.
Back in 2004, my friend Charlie Burman and I rode from London round to New York, east, and we called the trip the long way round.
I just cannot believe that I'm riding my very own triple black. 2004, when I spotted the GS for the first time, not the Adventure because it wasn't out then, I just fell in love with what they were doing and the riding to New York around the world. So you can imagine how I'm feeling having my own.
Every drop feels like eternal gold.
There's been a little strained around here lately because of all the stuff going on outside the house, you know, the pressure, the job, all those things that can weigh you down. You know, sometimes, just sometimes, you bring that home with you. And I understand, but you know, I want us to just stop for a minute and think about how much we have together.
Blimey, it's big.
God, I'm just as nervous now as when I took that bloke's one out. But anyway, here we go, first ride. No, I'm not too bad, in fairness. Alright. At the moment, this thing's got 6 miles on the clock. Where can I see? So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to a quiet place and I'm going to explain all the major advantages there are to buying this motorbike. I mean, there's so many, I'm not going to whoa, so many, I'm not going to be able to remember them all today. But anyway, today was about collecting this bike and me discussing all of its benefits and the reasons why I think you would enjoy riding this bike. So let's get to the location and thanks for watching. Right, I think we've got a nice quiet location over here. Let me just pull over.
Right guys, unfortunately the British weather turned on me again. So what I've done is I brought you to my man cave. Set myself up a couple of lights so you can get a proper look at this GSA triple black. And yeah, before I start, I just want to say the reason why I've titled this video, Watch This Before You Buy One, it's because I spent hours and hours looking at every GSA bike review on YouTube, and I've titled the video this way because this is not a bike review, it's just me telling you exactly why I purchased this bike, why I love this bike so much. You know, like I say, if you're considering getting one, this video might help you in your purchase and what you decide to add to it and stuff like that. So anyway, let's get on and talk about the details of this bike. So the first thing I want to discuss with you about this GSA is its riding position. I mean, I've not seen a review on YouTube when someone's jumped on this bike and not fallen in love with it. I took one out for a test ride and within 5 minutes I knew I was going to purchase one of these bikes. it's a total pleasure to ride. You've got the wide handlebars, the lovely comfy seat. I mean, I call this bike a motorway cruncher because you can just do miles and miles on it and not feel uncomfortable. So yeah, if you're considering getting one, my recommendations to you is that you take out the lowered suspension one. Well, they call it a low frame in North Oxford BMW. I think it's about 70mm lower than a standard GSA. Even if you're quite a tall person, I would still recommend that you try them back to back, because what I'm finding watching all these reviews on YouTube, people are preferring this lowered version. So yeah, major plus point, absolutely amazing, I think. So what I want to discuss with you now is the GSA Fuel Range. They say if ridden nice and steady, you can get 390 miles on this bike. I mean, I've owned loads of motorcycles before, and you would probably have to fill them up at least 4 times in the time that you would fill this bike up once. If you're planning a round the world tour or going cross country, I mean, to be able to travel that far on 1 tank of fuel is a major advantage. I believe it's such an advantage, plus point. I believe it's behind why this bike is selling so well across the world. Well, one of the major points, let's put it that way. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. So the most common question that people are asking me now, so far, now I've purchased this bike, is what is it like to maneuver around because of the sheer weight of it? I mean, it's 264 kilograms with fuel in the tank, and when you first get on one you think, oh my god, this thing is a beast. But after a while you get so used to maneuvering it around, it then becomes not an issue whatsoever. Obviously when you're riding it, it becomes as light as a feather. But just look at the handlebar angle, look at the steering lock. This bike has got the tightest turning circle of any bike that I've ever ridden. I can literally turn it round on the tightest country roads without any problem whatsoever. I mean, if it gets really tight, you can do a quick 3-point turn and you're on your way because of that lovely tight turning circle. So weight and maneuverability is no problem whatsoever. So what I want to show you next is the drive shaft of this bike. For all you motorcyclists out there, you will fully understand what I'm about to say. When you've got a motorbike with a chain, you're forever trying to keep it lubed, keep it clean. It's a constant, it's a constant thing that's always there that you've got to keep an eye on and keep maintained. Well, with a drive shaft, the first service to this bike is 600 miles, and when they replace the engine oil, they replace the drive shaft oil as well. And then I believe it's good for 10 to 12,000 miles thereafter. So once you've got your first oil change done, you never need to worry about it because it's sat in oil, it's constantly lubed. And the other major advantage is your back wheel doesn't get sprayed in oil constantly. You're not constantly cleaning it. You know, you've got to admit that is a bloody awesome advantage to this bike. If you're going touring, who wants to worry about chain maintenance? Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. So I just want to quickly discuss this fully adjustable front screen. I find reading lots of forums that people are going out and spending lots of money on aftermarket screens. They want them taller, they're buying extenders. I can understand why you would want it tinted to protect the navigation and the clocks from the sunlight. Just really quickly, you can get a hood for the navigation systems. But it's the screens. People are going through this process of buying this screen, that screen, and then what usually happens is they return back to this screen. And the reason for that is this bike has been fully tested in a wind tunnel by BMW. This screen is designed to flick the air off from around the rider, and it is the most effective screen you can get. So, you know, my recommendations are, before you rush out and spend loads of money on aftermarket parts, read the forums, and, you know, just trust me, this is a bloody good screen. Just take a look at this rider's eye view. I mean, I can see why people fall in love with this bike. You know, you got your Nav 6 in front of you, nice set of clocks. The mirrors, there's no blind spot to these mirrors whatsoever. If you can't see people in the mirror, it means they're beside you. These go over the shoulder sort of view, and it just gives you a good all-round view of what's going on. And what I'm trying to do with this video is make it as short as I possibly can. But the problem is, there is so much to discuss on this bike that I'm struggling to do so. So it might be slightly long, this video. I apologise to anybody that, you know, might get bored. But anyway, let me show you the lights on this bike. One major point to me is riding safe. And I think you can agree that this bike has got one hell of a road presence. Look at it. What I've found so far is people will move out your way, they'll hold back, they won't pull out in front of you. Because of its road presence, it seems to gain a bit of respect from the car drivers. I took this lane splitting and people were just parting to get out of my way. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to run into a car at 50 miles an hour because they haven't seen you. So major plus point. I've got a family, I've got kids, and safety for me is paramount. So yeah, the road presence is top notch, mate, top notch. So what I'm going to discuss now is the costs, what everything cost on the bike. I mean, it's unusual for me to talk about costs and things, but you know, because people can go out and, you know, go to their local dealers and work it out for themselves. But I often get asked in the comment box, what did this cost? What did that cost? And you know what? Today, I couldn't give a shit. I'm going to discuss it, and hopefully it'll give you a good insight into, you know, your possible purchase. So this bike that I've chosen is completely top spec. It's got everything on it that you could possibly add to it out the factory, like the keyless ride, the Navigation 6, the BMW Panniers. I mean, I could have got those cheaper elsewhere, but you know, I wanted it guaranteed and maintained by BMW. Some of you are going to say, why would you spend so much on a motorcycle? That is for another video. I believe that life is this tiny little window of opportunity. We've only got one shot at it. If you work hard enough, why can't you spoil yourself? I am going to get criticised for you know, various things, but I can't even begin to tell you how many hours it has taken for me to be able to purchase my dream bike. I spotted the GS in 2004, fell in love with it, and I said to myself, you know what, one day I'm going to own one of these. And now I've got one in the garage. I have spoiled myself, but that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. We all do it. We all do it. Anyway. Right, so let's discuss all the costs of the bike, everything in detail. This bike actually cost me £18,950. If you take everything off that I've added to it, it would probably cost you around 16,000 quid. Like I say, you don't need to go, you know, all the bells and whistles like I have. But anyway, let's make a start. This Navigation 6, that cost me, let me just have a look. That cost me £640. The panniers at the rear, you can pick these up cheaper elsewhere, but I wanted BMW guarantees with it, and they have cost me, let me just have a look. It's called the luggage pack, and they have cost me £1,200. what I was going to discuss was the keyless ride. Now, that has cost £260. It's entirely up to you whether you have it or not. Having had this bike for a few days now, I would say, you know, it's not a necessity. In some respects, we have keyless on our Mercedes cars and you lose the keys. So there's something to be said about popping a key into an ignition, turning it on, and, you know, just looking after your keys like a normal set of bunch of keys. Is that a necessity? I would say probably not. But that's £260, like I say. Let's go to the panniers at the back. Now, should you get these panniers? Absolutely yes, because it's what this bike is about. To be able to put all your stuff away, go away for the day, put your crash helmets, your leathers and your boots all away, you and your wife, allowing you to go out for the day. I would definitely purchase yourself a set of BMW Panniers. They've cost me £1,200. They're extremely well made. Let's have a look. This is the smaller pannier. This takes boots and jackets. It's smaller because of the exhaust. So yeah, £1,200 for the panniers. Just one thing while I'm on it. Some people like to fit an Akrapovic exhaust on the back of it. For me personally, the way this bike sounds is absolutely spot on. I definitely will not be fitting an Akrapovic. I've tried them both and, you know, this is quality, absolute quality. Right, what's next? Right, so what I went for is I went for the Gearshift Assist Pro. It's entirely up to you, but I personally would highly recommend it. It's £375, and the sound of the Boxer engine when you flick through the Gearshift Assist Pro, and the smooth throttle, because you know this bike is ride-by-wire. That's why you fall in love with this bike. You just burning through the gears, listening to that brute of an engine, the Boxer engine. I would highly recommend Gearshift Assist Pro. That's £375 extra. But to be able to flick through the gears as quick as you can, highly recommend it. Honestly, get Gearshift Assist Pro. So the last cost that were involved when I purchased this bike is the delivery cost. That was £300. The road fund license, that was £85. There's various other little costs that you incur when you buy a brand new vehicle. The registration fee, obviously, stuff like that. But I hope you're happy with the costs of that. I've got so much more I want to discuss about this bike, but the video is going on so long I cannot fit it on this video. I mean, things like I wanted to discuss the heated grips, the levers, the Brembo brakes. The stand is not just a centre stand, it serves a purpose. The dynamic ESA system. There is so much more to discuss. The tyres. But anyway, what I'll have to do is a part 2 video. But if you like this video today, please help my channel out by giving me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and I'll see you on another video with the things that I'm going to do with this bike. And, you know, just to say again, sorry it has taken so long to put up a video. I'm back to it now, and yeah, all good.